So on Dynamite, Tony Khan made the announcement that on March 13th, next month, AEW Dynamite and also Rampage, let's be honest, are going to emanate from the TD Garden Center in Boston, Massachusetts. And they're dubbing it this special edition of Dynamite Big Business. And what's interesting about this is when you look at the graphic, if you will, for the event, it says AEW Dynamite Big Business, but then in the background it has the word Boston. But what's interesting about the word Boston is it has two S's to it. And when you go to Mercedes Moné's Twitter account, she too has two S's next to Boston. Pretty much, letting us know that, yeah, Mercedes is on her way in. Now, that could all change, but right now, it's definitely pointing in that direction. Now, as I've mentioned before, and others have mentioned before, this is a big get for AEW, there's no doubt. I mean, it looks like right now they're starting to find their stride again. Like they're starting to pick up that momentum. Yeah, attendance is not where it should be, and hopefully that'll pick up over time. But they're starting to find that stride again. Like there are certain, instances here and there where they're starting to, find the footing again. They're starting to, reignite that flame and, and basically, I guess you could say, reuse that same, that good old same magic that put them on the map when they first started. So, all signs are pointing in a positive direction, but not all of them. Not all of them. It's still taking time. It's kind of like right now, it's kind of like it's more still 45-50, if you will. Like 45% positive, 50% not so much. But I'm assuming over time they should be okay. Revolution, I should say, will be very telling in the long run because that's going to be a sellout. It's in Greensboro, South Carolina. I think it's Greensboro, South Carolina. And it's going to be a sellout because that's basically what Sting pretty much got put on the map, if you will, for his wrestling career. And it's his last match. And whatever the main event's going to be, it's going to be big. Well, apparently the main event's going to be, Sting and Darby Allin against the Young Bucks for the tag team titles. But still, be that as it may, it definitely feels like AEW is picking up momentum very slowly, but it's still kind of, in the favor of negativity, outweighing the positive, but by only 5%. Now, when Mercedes coming in, that's probably going to help them out because she is a big name and she is a big get. But the question is, how will they treat her? Well, hopefully they treat her correctly. Like I said in my previous video where I talked about this, rankings be damned, okay? Rankings be damned. You put this woman in instantly at the top, and you have her challenge and win that championship upon arrival. Whether you have her do it the night she debuts in Boston, or you have her wait till Double or Nothing, you have her win that championship, or maybe even you do another special edition of Dynamite, which I think is going to be Beach Break. Beach Break is supposed to be one they got coming up. Have her win it there. And then give her a very lengthy title reign. Have her have a very lengthy title reign. But, but no matter what, rankings be damned in this case, she needs to be inserted right away into the championship picture, no matter what the situation. Now, I also said, in my video that I think, because they even confirmed this too, when I was reading Fightful Select, I think it was Fightful Select and other sources, confirmed that one of the holdups was the contract. So I'm hoping that she and her team, her lawyers, looked over that contract, saw that they're going to get everything that she's asking for, but also added in a few amendments. And one of those major amendments, stipulations, is an opt-out option. And what I mean by that, as I mentioned in my last video, the opt-out option is basically, a way for her to get out of her contract without issue in case she doesn't feel satisfied. Like in case she doesn't, feel like, hey, I've gotten everything I was promised when I got here, if she doesn't feel that way, she could just say, you know what, I'm done. Like maybe after 6 months or at the end of the year, she could just say, Tony, I appreciated the opportunity, but this wasn't what I thought it was. I'm out. So hopefully that's something that she put into a contract and would, kind of explain, in my opinion, why she took so long, putting ink to paper, if you know what I mean. So yeah, to me, like I said before, and I'm always going to repeat this, they need to rocket her to the top, rankings be damned, and hopefully she's put an opt-out option in that contract. Hopefully she doesn't have to use that opt-out option, and they treat her correctly. They treat her the way she should be treated. Again, rankings be damned. Rankings be damned. Also, they need to make sure that one of the other things she does, and I'm sure she put this in the contract too, is they feature her prominently. They feature her in a big, big way, and that every storyline she's a part of in that women's division is featured on the same level as the men's. And on occasions, their matchups, their feud, their match, whatever she's a part of, who she's against, should all, at times would main event. Not just a Dynamite, not just a Collision or a Rampage, but a pay-per-view. And not just any regular pay-per-view either. Hopefully she's made it clear that if you want her, she's going to want everything that you're promising her. She's going to want to have an opt-out option in there in case she's not happy. And two, she's going to probably want to be treated on the same equal level as the top stars, male and female, but mostly male in that company. And that, whatever programs she's a part of in the women's division against whoever, that they are prominently featured, and on occasions, every now and then, they are given the main event spotlight, the final closing match of a pay-per-view, instead of just like a Dynamite, Collision, or a Rampage. And if I'm Mercedes and I want to make this specific, I'm going to want to say, look, I'm going to want to say, hey, one of these pay-per-views that I want to main event, it's got to be a big pay-per-view. It's got to be one of your big fours, if you will, one of your big time pay-per-views, like one of your foundational pay-per-views. And to me, that's the best thing to me, that would be the best thing for Tony Khan to do. Like let's say you put her in a feud with Deonna Purrazzo, and you got All In coming out, or not All In, but you got All Out coming, in Chicago the week after All In. Then guess what? You've main evented All In with a Will Ospreay match, maybe culminating in him becoming champion. Then what you do the following week, you have All Out close out with Mercedes. Or maybe you save Mercedes in her main event match for let's say something like a Full Gear. Maybe you even have her main event and close out Double or Nothing, because that will be her first AEW pay-per-view. Whatever the case is, I have a feeling, and I'm hoping she did this, because again, Tony Khan, if he wants to spend the money to get this woman in there, he's got to give her everything she's going to ask for. He's got to give her the spotlight. He's got to make sure she's at the top of the card, equal to someone like, let's say, a Samoa Joe or a Sting or Kenny Omega or Swerve Strickland, you name it. She's got to be at the top of the card in that A-list elitist section, A-list elitist section. And also, he's got to make sure that whatever she's part of, program, like I said, feud-wise, program-wise, whoever she's working with, whether it's Deonna, whether it's Tony, whether it's Saraya, whether it's Hikaru Shida, whether it's, Julia Hart, Jamie Hayter when she comes back, whoever, Tony Khan has to make sure, and I'm sure Mercedes has put this in her contract, that she has to main event once in a while. Could be Double or Nothing, which I think would be the best starting point to do so. She's got to main event a big time pay-per-view. Not something like Forbidden Door, which is big, but not too big. But something more along the lines of a Double or Nothing, an All In, an All Out, a Full Gear, you name it. A Wrestle Dream, a World's End. She's got to be able to main event a certain amount of pay-per-views within the year and within her time with the company. Because if not, she can always use what I'm hoping she put into her contract, that opt-out option to say, hey, I appreciate the opportunity, but you didn't live up to your end of the bargain. I'm out. I'm done. So hopefully Tony Khan does right by her and gives her everything she's wanting, that she puts in that contract that he agreed to. He agreed to. Excuse me there. And hopefully she doesn't have to use the opt-out option, which I'm guaranteeing she probably put in, which is why there was a holdup on the contract signing. Because one, she wanted to put that in there, and she also wanted to put in the fact that she gets to main event, several pay-per-views. She gets to close out several pay-per-views in the main event. So hopefully, so that would explain to me why, in my opinion, the contract took so long to sign. Maybe I'm wrong, but eventually we'll probably find out. But guys, give me your thoughts on Mercedes showing up to, AEW in, within a month. Within a month. Let me know what your thoughts are. How do you think Tony Khan will treat her? Do you think she'll get everything she's asking for? Do you think he will basically let her main event several pay-per-views that could be part of the, agreement, the contract she signed, to be part of the company? And do you think she'll be featured prominently in the upper A-list elitist section, if you will, of the company? And do you think she probably put an opt-out option, in her contract just in case she's not satisfied? Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. And until then, I'm out.